I remember the day I heard my mom had died, as if it was yesterday. I got a telegram from the home I had taken her to. The old people's home was at Marengo, and it was a long journey on the way to her funeral. When I finally arrived, I wanted to see my mom right away, but the caretaker told me I'd have to wait to see the director first. He was busy, so I waited a while. But I remember when I saw the casket, the director was moving towards it when I stopped him. I told him I didn't want to see her body, even though that was what I had waited for. He looked at me, perplexed. I was afraid he was going to question or judge me, but he didn't. He told me he understood. I don't know why I didn't want to see her. I had wanted to before, but something changed. Seeing her body would have made her death real. I wasn't able to eat, so I had coffee with milk. After finishing the coffee, I was hesitant to smoke, although I wanted to, because I didn't know if I could do it with Maman right there. After a moment of silence, the caretaker told me he was to greet some of Maman's friends that were supposed to arrive soon. I went into some sort of trance as I entered the room one by one. Not many of Maman's friends cried. Only one I could remember, a woman. The rest sat quietly, mourning in silence. Her cries bothered me as she continued for some time. The night went by quickly. I must have fallen asleep. I'm sure I did. When I reopened my eyes, a strange man's eyes were fixated on me, almost waiting for me to awaken. After seeing his empty stare, I fell back asleep. The next day was not much to remember. The procession was long, and it got very hot and humid outside. All I knew was that I would sleep well that night. Saturday arrived quickly. I ran into Marie Cardona that day. We swam for a time, then went to my apartment to get ready for a movie she wanted to see. Once we were dressed, she seemed very surprised to see that I was wearing a black tie, and she asked me if I was in mourning. I told her Maman had died. She seemed to have found it odd when I told her Maman had died the day before. As she began to say something, I stopped. When we arrived at the theater, she seemed to have forgotten about what I had said. She spent the night and left early Sunday morning. Sunday came quickly. The streets were nearly empty, and I had wandered around my apartment for most of the day, bored. I lay in my bed at the end of the day, and it occurred to me that anyway, one more Sunday was over, and that Maman was buried now. I realized that really nothing had changed. I had not seen Maman for some time, so her being dead was similar to that. One night, from my apartment, I could hear soft crying from old Salamano's room. His dog had run away that day, but his crying made a little sense. He did not appear to like his dog, as he would constantly beat it and yell at it. For some reason, I thought of Maman, but I chose not to fret and went back to bed, unable to eat once again. The next day, Raymond invited me to go to the beach, so I took Marie along with me. The weather was warm and the sun shone the entire time. Raymond began to panic a little as us men went for a walk on the beach. He pointed out a group of Arabs and showed that one of them was the brother of the girl he had beaten before. Soon our two groups met and we brawled, and ended up having to drag an injured Raymond back to the beach house. Without Raymond, I had never known who that Arab was. Maybe then I would not have killed him on that beach. Maybe then I would not be here, on trial. I do wish Maman had not died. Am I being accused of murder and then executed because I didn't cry at her funeral? It does seem that way. Why does it matter? What would it have changed if I had cried? Would I still be here, on trial for the murder of an Arab? I guess it depends. I don't think it was just Raymond that drove me to kill the Arab. There had to have been something else. I didn't feel loyal enough to Raymond to end a man's life. It's so strange knowing she is dead, although I had not seen her for some time. I remember the emptiness of my apartment after I had taken her to the home. She made it seem so full. After she was gone, the room seemed too big for me. It felt empty, like something was missing. Something was missing. Now I am condemned to die. I was arrested for shooting and killing the Arab, but sentenced for not crying at my mother's funeral. I thought about Maman and understood why she had gotten engaged to a man she barely knew. She felt alive in her final moment, knowing she was so close to death. In my final moments, I realized something. I miss you, Maman. I really do miss you.